Planning with Crystal. Today's video is a comparison between the Nespresso Vertuo Pop machine and the Nespresso Vertuo Plus machine. The Nespresso Vertuo Plus machine has been around for a really long time. I believe it was the first Vertuo machine we ever saw Nespresso release, whereas the Vertuo Pop is the newest one coming in late 2022, I believe it was. So in today's video, we're going to compare the two machines we've got here, like I've done in my other Nespresso comparison videos, and hopefully you will find it useful to have a look at what the differences are between the different models. So first of all, we're going to look at the price, then we're going to go into sort of size, weight, features, and all that good stuff, and hopefully by the end of the video, like I said, you'll have a better idea of which one might suit your needs most. So price-wise, as of right now, February 2023, Nespresso Vertuo Plus is actually on offer at £49 in the UK, whereas Vertuo Plus is around £89. Sometimes you can get a bit cheaper on Amazon. I will look for the best prices and link them underneath if you do want to go ahead and buy one of the machines. At this present moment, at the time of making the video, they are doing an offer where you get 50 capsules if you buy any Nespresso Vertuo machine. So regardless of which retailer you buy it from, you can then, once you've made that purchase, if it's not with Nespresso, go on the Nespresso website and claim your 50 capsules. So you don't have to buy from Nespresso if you would rather buy from a different retailer, which can also be quite important if you're looking at colours and things, because these machines are available in different colours to kind of suit your kitchen or your wants, needs, whatever. So just something to kind of bear in mind. So I have had the Vertuo Plus now for 3+ years. I did do a first use of the machine, but I have owned it, a previous model of it as well, that I haven't actually videoed, that I gave to somebody else. So I've had this machine or a machine like it for a very, very long time, whereas the Pop is new to me, but I can already see the massive difference in some of the little things it does and some of the ways it kind of fits into your life. So first of all, size-wise, which might be important if you are trying to fit it in a particular part of your kitchen. You might be trying to fit it under kitchen units, and that's where things like the height and things can be really, really important. So first of all, width-wise, the width of the Vertuo Pop machine is 13.6 centimetres, whereas the width of the Vertuo Plus is 22 centimetres. So quite a few centimetres more, could make a difference depending on where you're putting it. Depth-wise, Vertuo Plus is 34.9 centimetres, and Pop has got a depth of 42.6 centimetres. And I will put all these measurements and stuff underneath if you are trying to sort of figure out where it's going to fit and what have you. And I've taken these particular measurements from the Nespresso website. Height-wise, your Vertuo Pop is 25 centimetres, the Plus is 32.5 centimetres. That doesn't take into account when you actually open it, when it will obviously get that little bit higher. So for this one, you just press this and it lifts up. Oops, I'd left a capsule in there. And for the Pop, and this is something again worth kind of bearing in mind, you have to manually open it. There we go, that wasn't the best example, was it? So could be a consideration, particularly if you would rather be able to operate it with one hand, which for some people might be a real consideration. So I wanted to kind of mention that there. Weight-wise, the Nespresso Pop is the lighter of the two at 3.5 kilograms, whereas Vertuo Plus weighs 4.6 kilograms. I can't see why this would be massively important unless you want to store it in a cupboard and keep having to get it out and lifting it, or if you wanted to travel with it or something. So for me, not a big consideration, but I wanted to mention it. The preheat time on the two models isn't massively different. On the Pop, it will take 30 seconds for the machine to heat up, is what Nespresso say, and that seems to be about right, from a cold machine to it being, you know, warm enough to actually make you the coffee. Preheat on your Vertuo Plus is 20 seconds, so it's a little bit faster, but nothing to really quibble about. It's only a 10-second difference. The eco kind of features with the Pop being a newer machine, this will shut off within 2 minutes of you not using it, whereas it will take the Vertuo Plus 9 minutes to shut off. So if you're somebody who regularly forgets to switch your machine off, that might be quite a feature worth looking at. But again, not everybody is going to be particularly bothered. Some people might be quite happy, you know, just to switch it off themselves. Bluetooth-wise, there is a difference. So your Vertuo Plus over here doesn't have any Bluetooth connectivity, whereas the newer Pop model does. But bear in mind that all the Bluetooth actually does is connect to Nespresso via your Nespresso app on whatever device you're using to push updates to the machine. Now, from many years of using it, this is a much more reliable machine. The Vertuo Plus doesn't seem to need any kind of software updates, and it just seems to work. Whereas the Pop and the Next, which we've compared separately, kind of seems to need some of these Bluetooth updates sometimes. They are slightly less reliable machines from my experience and from reviews I have read. Like I said, having had these machines for a number of years, so it is kind of something to mention. Nespresso's customer service is very good if you do need to get your machine fixed, but I have found out of all the models that the Vertuo Plus, the oldest machine, interestingly enough, is actually the most reliable. Cable length on the machines, not massively different, but worth mentioning. The cable length on your pop is between 75 and 80 centimetres, whereas on the Vertuo Plus it's 85 centimetres. So where some of the kind of differences start to come in the size of the machine, in ways I had perhaps not considered, I just want to draw your attention to now. So on your Plus model, you can take off the cup holder completely if you would like to, or you can use that at 4 different heights. The heights are to do with the size of coffee you are dispensing. So obviously if you've got an espresso and an espresso cup, you might want to put it on the kind of shorter setting. If you've got quite a large cup or a travel cup, you might want it to be on that size. Now with the pop, you don't have that option. It's just a lift on, lift off, you use it or you don't. And actually what I have found with the pop machine is that not all cups will fit under it. So if you've got like a standard size kind of cup, coffee cup, depends on the shape of the cup as to whether it's going to fit here or whether you're going to have to kind of hold and tilt it or almost use it right at the edge of your kitchen unit and then just like hold the cup there. It's not ideal for me. You can obviously remove it to allow it a little bit more room and it will fit most standard coffee cups. Now then, do you like to take a coffee out with you in the morning? Do you use a travel cup? Because I certainly do. And this is also a little bit of an issue I've noticed. So this is one of Nespresso's probably most well-known travel cups. It's pretty standard travel cup size. It's certainly no larger than most travel cups. Now, on my Nespresso Vertuo Plus and also on the next we've compared previously, it fits perfectly. I can press my button on the top, it makes the coffee, I go about my business, making my breakfast, what have you, grab it on the way out, perfect. The Nespresso Vertuo Pop, it doesn't fit, like at all. The only way I could get my travel cup filled is to hold it like this or put some other kind of cup under it and decant it afterwards, none of which you really want to do. Not necessarily an issue if you don't use a travel cup, but worth mentioning because I imagine most people do. I can't imagine I'm alone in wanting a coffee in the mornings to take with me. The next thing I wanted to mention is to do with how many coffees do you make per day and how often do you actually want to be emptying your capsule container. So on the Vertuo Plus, you've got a little capsule container like this. You can actually remove it from either side of the coffee machine. It's got like a little cutout on each side where you can pop your finger in and pull that out, so it's quite easy to access. Whereas on the pop, it's just on one side like this. Now, if you want to look at the size of the coffee capsule containers, that's hard to say, right next to each other, you can see they are a different size. Now this is important, like I said, because the fewer capsules that this will hold, the more often you're going to have to empty it, because once it gets full, your machine isn't going to be able to drop any more capsules out, and you obviously have to empty it. There's no way around it. So the differences here are the Nespresso Vertuo Pop, because it's a smaller machine, this will only hold between 5 and 6 capsules, dependent on the size of capsule. The bigger the capsule, the fewer it will hold. And up here, it says it will hold 10 used capsules in the Vertuo Plus. From my experience, it's a little more than 10, but I think they say 5 for this Nespresso, whereas I find it's more like 6. So it's just a little consideration, but it's just one more thing that you have to do with a smaller machine. One more thing you are sacrificing is it's got less space for such things. Another little thing to mention here, and a bit of a difference again between the sizes, is how much water these water tanks are going to hold. So on your Nespresso Vertuo Pop, it will hold 600 millilitres of water. So if you're dispensing, say, the largest coffee this machine can do, which is a mug, 230 ml, you're going to be able to do 2 mugfuls and then you're going to have to refill it. Whereas over here on the Vertuo Plus, it will hold 1.2 litres, so double the pop, and therefore it will make twice as many drinks. So again, could be a consideration. Less so if you live alone or you're a couple and you only have 1 drink each in the morning, it's probably not going to be as much of an issue. But if you regularly entertain or you're a larger family and you're going to be making lots of coffees in the morning, it might be something you want to consider. It can get a little bit annoying having to keep refilling them over and over again. So just a little thing to mention. Now, obviously, as we've mentioned before, the Nespresso Vertuo Pop is a smaller machine, but the Vertuo Plus has a little handy feature in relation to this water tank in that it can be, I've just put the, if you notice the wire is to do with how I've had to connect it where I'm filming. I wouldn't necessarily have the wire there. Normally it'd be on the other side of the tank. fact, I will just move that now. But yeah, the tank will actually twist around and go to the side of the machine. So if you're trying to fit it into like a small corner or something, this is kind of movable to allow you the option of putting it in different places, and it will go around on that side as well. So a quick talk over the different size coffees that these machines make. There are 4 different coffees that the Nespresso Vertuo machines can make as of February 2023. And they start off with espresso, which is 40ml, double espresso, which is 80ml, Gran Lungo, 150ml, and mug size, which is 230ml. Now personally, I find myself mainly drinking Gran Lungo and mug sized, particularly when I get my travel coffee in the morning, it would be mug sized. Now, there is one other capsule available in the Vertuo range, but you can only use it with the Nespresso Vertuo Next machine. None of these machines is capable of making it. And it's a carafe size coffee, so it's 535 millilitres of coffee. It makes a big carafe, it's divine, but you do need that specific machine to make it. So check out my comparison between Nespresso Pop and Nespresso Next, and you will see us making the carafe of coffee and talking in a little bit more detail about that particular coffee blend and what it's like, and like I said, how to make it. But that is not an option with either of these 2 machines, and I just wanted you to be aware of that. So going back to the actual operation of the machines, the main way that these vary is the Pop is a manual open and close, and the Plus is automatic. So with your Plus, you literally just touch this to switch it on. It's flashing now because it's come on. Touch it again and it will lift up. You can put your coffee in, then you press it down and it closes. Then you just press that button when you're ready for your coffee. Whereas with the Pop, you have to manually twist like this to open it, then you have to push it down, and I generally find I need 2 hands to close it, which could be a little bit of a concern if you are needing to operate this machine with 1 hand only. It's a bit more restrictive, it's less accessible for people. So I do think it's a bit of a design fault. It seems strange to me that this machine was designed first, and actually it seems like a backward step to have a manual open and close when I've never had an issue with one of the Plus machines. Like, they don't go faulty or anything in my experience. None of the machines I have had from the Plus range have ever had an issue, so I don't know why they would take the feature away, when usually when you're moving forward you would want to add features, not take them away. So it's interesting that they've chosen to kind of go that way, but just something I wanted to mention because I think it's probably one of the most critical points between these machines and making that choice. Do you want to be manually opening and closing it, or do you want or need an electrical open and close? So I definitely think it's worth thinking about, and is a huge difference between these 2 machines. Now, we have done individual videos of the Nespresso Pop, where we'll go into a bit more detail and make coffees and things on it, and the same with this machine, which is the Vertuo Plus, plus the separate videos for the Vertuo Next, comparisons between this and the Vertuo Next, comparisons between this and the Vertuo Next. So check them out if you want a bit more of a kind of thorough, detailed deep dive in the machines and looking at those kind of comparisons. But I really hope you've enjoyed watching this video. I would love it if you give it a thumbs up. It lets me know you're enjoying the content I'm producing. And I'd love it if you subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell to be notified when my next video goes live. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys.